Good adventures, everybody. I'm Melissa Bonzak, and welcome to episode 130 of Books Cubed, the show where I chat with authors you should be reading. This week, I am chatting with author Neil Christiansen. He's got a really interesting thing that he is doing. He has a podcast, and it's also on YouTube, and he is reading his latest book one chapter at a time. And then, as a behind the scenes, after he's done reading the chapter, he has an interview with someone about the chapter he just read, what worked, what didn't, what they liked, their thoughts in general. It is really, really fascinating to me. So I was very excited to chat with him about this. And we talk about all kinds of other things too, a lot about social media, what works, what doesn't. Most of it doesn't for us. Spoiler alert. And just all kinds of things. He was a real blast to chat with. And he has an adorable dog that makes a cameo several times during the video. And it was a fun chat. So get ready for that, and I will see you after. Okay, I want to welcome Neil Christiansen to the show. Say hi to everybody.
Hi there.
You have a very interesting project going on right now. So I want you to tell everybody about it.
Okay. I'm doing the audiobook for my second novel, Malcolm Karma Cold Turkey, and I'm doing it as a podcast, which I don't think is terribly interesting or inventive. It's one chapter per episode. But what I'm trying to do to make it a little different is I always loved the idea of, like, back in the day when we had DVDs, the DVD commentary by the directors, and the director would talk about the movie and such. And so I wanted to do something like that, where after each chapter I would talk about the chapter and its development and give some background and fun facts. But I don't think I'm terribly interesting to listen to by myself. So I invited author friends and editors and readers to come on. And after each chapter, there's a special guest who will discuss with me that chapter and anything that leads up to that chapter, but nothing past it, so that there's no spoilers. But yeah, it's been fun. I've recorded a bunch of episodes. There's 2 out right now. The distribution is seeming to be a little funky. I'm having a hard time finding it everywhere, but you can definitely find it on YouTube, and you can definitely find it on Substack. And the other platforms, hopefully it'll start showing up soon.
Yeah, did you make sure that on Substack that you put it through to Spotify?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I know I considered for a while, excuse me, I'm on Podbean, and for a while I considered moving to Substack because it's free.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem that I found with it is I moved some of my episodes over, but I could never find them.
Yeah.
And so I thought, I'm going to just stick with Podbean and just bite the bullet and pay the $6 or $7 a month, whatever it works out to be.
Yeah. Yeah. And I might end up going that direction too. Substack, I liked the idea of, like, trying to build a platform on Substack. And I don't have time enough to write my books, let alone, write extra things. And so I don't know. I need to have some kind of marketing channel, and I haven't quite figured out what to do about that yet.
Yeah, people keep telling me Substack is the way to go. Substack is fantastic. And every time I'm on Substack, all I see is either politics or people telling me that they just paid their house payment because of all the people that subscribe to them. And I'm thinking, or I see people saying, no one is reading my stuff, and they'll have like 500 or 600 likes on that, or people commenting.
Uh-huh.
And it just feels like it's in my sub name on there is writing into the wind, because that's what I feel like I'm doing when on Substack.
Yeah.
Writing into the wind, and nobody's hearing it.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. And I just listened to one of the writing podcasts, Kevin Tumlinson, I can't say his name,
Mm-hmm.
Tumlinson, and JD Barker do one called Writing Something or Other, and I'll put it in the show notes. And they had someone on talking about Substack, and I thought, oh, I'm going to go look again. And it just still
Yeah.
nothing for me.
Yeah, I'm starting to feel that way kind of all over the place. I enjoy YouTube as a platform for distribution, but it doesn't allow for there's until you have a lot of subscribers, it doesn't allow for much in the way of promotion. Um, and TikTok is a dumpster fire, and Blue Sky is nice. It's like Twitter used to be, but um, I just yeah, I just all of those channels are starting to feel a little stale or shallow. I don't
Yes.
feel like there's any quality engagement coming out of any of them.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel that way too. TikTok. Yeah, I don't know. I found you on TikTok. I found some
Yeah.
really interesting people on TikTok, and I've been trying to join everybody's mailing lists. I'm not sure I'm on yours, so I'll have to make sure I get on yours after this podcast if I'm not. But I'm trying to join mailing lists in case it ever goes away, which they keep saying it's going to, and then it gets a reprieve, and then, I just don't know what's going on with that.
Yeah, I've made a lot of friends on TikTok. A lot of like people that are real life friends now, like uh Jordan Fitch is an author. He was on the podcast as well. And he and I met on TikTok, and now every morning we text each other with our Wordle and connections results. And other people that like I chat on the phone with, or that we're friends in real life. But I feel like all that happened like in a specific bubble of time over there
Yes.
when it was like really good, and there was good community and support, and it really felt, and there was deep engagement, and now like it just doesn't feel that way anymore, and it's just like it's people like trashing other people, and there's a
Yeah.
lot of like it feels like junior high over there now, and I
Yeah, it does. The book talk community seems to, and thankfully, I'm not on the part of book talk community that gets the people bitching about other people, but I'm on the part of people bitching about the people who bitch about other people. So I hear them bitching about the bitching, but I haven't heard the bitching. So I'm careful not to click on anything because I don't want to hear the bitching.
right.
Yeah. So yeah, like you said, it used to be good. TikTok years ago, probably 10 years ago, I was on TikTok and I had a lot of friends in Australia who I lost track of all of them once TikTok went crazy and we all left TikTok. But it was nice and I had a nice community over there. And I was hoping to go visit Australia because there were several of them that like, oh, come visit. You can stay with me.
Yeah.
Yes. And so if I used to talk to you on TikTok, or excuse me, on what was it? Twitter, and you're in Australia, send me a message. I want to
Yeah.
go visit.
Yeah, absolutely. Twitter back in the day, yeah, like 10, 15 years ago, was it had the best writing community. It was so spectacular, and I made friends over there too. And even some people that I still keep in touch with from over there. But it was great because it was fun and supportive, but it was also like it didn't feel self-aggrandizing. It felt more like a real like community where you're hanging out with your friends, and um we had games, one line Wednesday, and all these different like hashtag games to do writing prompts and stuff. And yeah, and so it used to be when I would get writer's block, because I don't believe in writer's block. I don't think writer's block is a thing.
It's not.
I think that people get story block. And so you get blocked on a story, and it feels like, well, I can't write because that's what you're trying to work on, is that story. And so yeah, it feels that way. So when I would start feeling that way, I would go on Twitter and start writing a story on Twitter. And this was when it was just
Yeah.
and I'd just write one amazing sentence that could be like the start of a novel, right? One amazing sentence that, could be engaging and could catch someone's attention. And, and then with the hashtag, like am writing or whatever. And then I do another tweet with the next sentence. And it had to be just as engaging as the first one, right? Because every one of these has to stand by itself as a tweet, but also like build upon each other. And that was such a great creative like thing for me. Um, and I just loved doing that. And that's how Malcolm Karma Cold Turkey started. Like it started as something I was doing when I was struggling with another piece. And eventually it just it got too big to be on Twitter,
Oh,
and it
sorry.
just ended
Hang on. Whoops. My stupid phone. Sorry.
up.
I'm sorry. My stupid phone went off and I have cochlear implants, so everything goes in my ears. Ah.
Ah, got it.
Okay. Sorry. I'm sorry. So you did one line at a time and that's how the book started.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I like that. Now, did you have like one line of dialogue ever? Did people get real confused? Did they ask questions?
um No, no. I think because it wasn't like I didn't spread them out really. It wasn't like I wrote one thing and then like the next day wrote the next thing. It would be like sitting there and just and this is the other thing that it was great for is like in training, and you can't do this anymore because everybody just lets you write as much as you want, you know. But when it was short, 140 characters or 280 characters, I would sit there and I'd write out my thought and I'd just let it go into the red, and it would be like negative 200, words or whatever, or 200 characters. And then I'd start editing and I'd edit it down bit by bit until it said the same thing, but wasn't as long and verbose. And that taught me really a lot about like being concise in language. And it also helps with like pacing in a story. If you want something to be punchy and fast, you want these like short sentences that like get the point across and keep everything moving.
Yeah, I like that too. For me, it was Kindle Vella. Did you do Kindle Vella when it was out?
I tried for like a while and it didn't work for me. It didn't like it worked for me as a writer, like, but I didn't find any audience at all.
I was really lucky. I wrote fantasy, which the fantasy series I'm writing now started out on Kindle Vella. I made mid four figures on there in a year, and that paid for all my covers for the series that I had published, and then for some of the covers that I've used now. And it was great. They needed though to expand it to the world because I had a lot of people that would I found my audience on Instagram, that I would send them over to Kindle Vella to read, and I kept getting people from Canada saying, "I want to read, I want to read," and I wish that I'd known about Substack at the time because I would have moved it to Substack then because I had an audience. And
Hmm.
then Kindle died, and I lost my audience because you didn't own your audience, and they didn't tell you who they
Right.
were. But that's the other nice thing about Substack, if I could get it going, is you own the mailing list. It's
Yeah.
yours.
Yeah.
And you could move them off of Substack and move them to the other, or move your others to Substack. Just tell them to keep everything in one place.
Yeah, and that is what I'm doing with hold on. Now my phones are beeping and stuff. I always forget to put on do not disturb. There we go. I That is what I'm using Substack for right now is I'm releasing pre-alpha chapters of my current work in progress like as I write them. So like if and I'm behind. I've just uh been life has been too chaotic in the past couple months to really focus on creative stuff, but it's starting to come back. But yeah, I write a chapter, give it a good once over, and then post it on Substack uh, under my I think it's under my paid subscription, um, and and I like doing that. and there's the disclaimer, these are pre-alpha chapters, they're not edited, they're not, there might be continuity problems between chapters and stuff like that,
Yeah.
because that's all stuff you go back and fix when you're editing. And
Yeah.
this is really raw, right off the typewriter, put it on the wall kind of thing. But it motivates me.
Now, before I forget, I want to comment on how beautiful your setup looks. If you're watching on YouTube, I know you talked last week about you were changing your setup to look a little more professional, and you got a
Yeah,
fireplace on one side, some
yeah, yeah.
posters from your books. There's a chair behind him with a bookshelf, and his dog was sitting there earlier and did some stretches and was looking very adorable.
Yeah, it's funny. The fireplace is aesthetic, but it's also giving me heat.
Oh, yeah.
I am in my garage. Yeah,
Oh,
so like there's bicycles hanging right there, and there's a workbench over here, and all the lawn furniture from the summer is stacked up over here. Um, we have a tiny little house, and it just became, when I would do lives on TikTok. I used to have a writers group I hosted on TikTok, and um, when we would do the lives, like there was no quiet place to be. And so, and my partner always tried to help him and keep the kids away when we're recording, but they've got to be able to go to their bedroom and go to the bathroom and and use the kitchen. And so it
yeah.
was just like, so what am I going to do? And it was like, well, I guess we have a giant garage. I guess I'll just take the back corner and do it up, and that way
Yeah.
I can leave y'all alone and you guys can leave me alone and it can be quiet. So yeah, I just painted like parts of two walls and got a bunch of stuff off of Facebook Marketplace, and built it out. Yeah.
It's very cozy. The walls are like a dark blue or
Yeah,
black.
they're like almost a slate blue. Yeah.
Yeah, almost a slate blue. They're very dark, but it just feels like a nice, cozy office. Yeah. Do
Yeah.
you write out there?
I do now. Yeah. It's my computer moved out here, everything moved out here, so it's the only setup I've got.
Yeah.
Uh, Sometimes I'll
It's
write on my
nice.
iPad on the sofa or whatever,
Yeah.
but yeah, this is my little office space, and I had to buy a mesh internet system so that I could get Wi-Fi out to the garage,
We have that
and
too. Yeah.
and I've got a brand new space heater hanging from the ceiling right here that is like blowing right down on me because it's in Chicago. It gets cold here in the winter.
Yes.
And so
Yes.
to be out here, just in the garage, it can get pretty nippy. I always say that like I love Boston, and I would I I would love to move to Boston and live in Boston, except that if I'm going to leave Chicago, I'm not going to move someplace that's just as cold or colder. My mom had a wood burning stove that she picked up somewhere that she always wanted to like install and use, and it never did. Like it just sat in the garage for
Oh,
forever.
yeah.
Um, but it was so cool. It'd have been really nice to like set it up like out on the patio kind of thing and have
Oh,
a
yeah. Yeah.
have a little stove out there, but never my dad never got to it.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah.
Well, it was there just in case. Just
Right.
in case. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's get back to your book. I'm curious. Has anybody, now how many episodes have you recorded so far for your podcast?
I've recorded six. I've got another two lined up, and then I'm still looking for people to come in and do some of the later chapters. So
Oh,
I've
okay. So you're
yeah,
still looking for people. So if you
yeah,
are a reader and you want to possibly contact Neil about reading one of his chapters, I
yeah.
will have links in the show notes.
But yeah, we've recorded six. They've been really fun. Um, I some of the conversations have been shorter and like kind of to the point, and some of the conversations we ended up rambling. It cut one of them off at like 2 hours. I was like, okay, it's like I gotta go. It's been fun, and people have had some. There's been some good critical feedback from some people about things that didn't make sense or that, that they needed answers for. Some of them it was like, well, you'll find that out later. Like, but there were a few things that I was like, oh yeah, I didn't think about that. Like, I
Has
tried
it
to
been
do my
anything?
research, but
Has it been anything that you've gone back and changed in the book?
well, no, the book is published. It's out. It's been out
Yeah.
for a year. I'm not gonna change it. It's
Yeah.
this wasn't designed to be like so that I could improve the book. This was more just like um a conceit for discussing the book.
Yeah. Well, what I've read so far, I did chapter 3, I think, and what I've read so far, I wouldn't change anything.
Yeah.
So I was very happy to. I picked up the book and said, "Will I like it?" Oh, I do. I like it very much. So yeah, it's good. I think it was book 2 in the series.
Yeah, so it's not exactly a series. It's I write kind of interconnected standalones.
Oh, okay.
So like in the my first book, Dark White, the protagonist is Gavin Gale, and it's a story about him and what stuff he's doing. And then this book takes place years after that book, and the protagonist is Malcolm Karma, and it's about him trying to get out of a situation, um, and but it's in the same universe, right? And there are references to things that happened in Dark White, and there's some characters that pop up, in both, but it's not a continuation of that story.
Is that first book out in audio?
I'm doing an audiobook of that on YouTube as well, but without the like discussion. It's just chapters. So I'm slowly putting that one out as well.
Have you thought about, and I love the idea of having people come on and talk about things. Have you thought about doing this for a work in progress?
I mean, that's just a writer's group, right?
I mean, it kind
Um,
of is, but I mean, if you did it on YouTube, then the whole world could watch.
yeah, I have thought about it. I was gonna do something like that when I was playing around with Patreon. Um, the problem is, uh, so I did a I hosted a writers group on TikTok that was, but we didn't use our work in progress. It was prompt based. Um, and that was really successful and did really well. And then I tried to move it over to YouTube,
Uh-huh.
and it just doesn't work the same. Like YouTube's not designed. So like, yeah, I could do it and have people like in the comments, you know, talking about it, but YouTube doesn't have a good platform for having multiple guests on. You have to like
Yeah.
use a third party platform to have multiple guests on. I think I've got enough going on right now.
Okay, I'm going to
I'll
give you more
probably do
things
it.
to do.
Yeah, I'll probably do it again when I finish uh Inadvisable Romance, the one I'm writing right now.
Yeah.
Um, but but yeah, no, I don't think I would do it for the work in progress.
Well, it's. Do you still do your writers group on TikTok?
No, there was a lot of drama about that and how that ended up ending, and then I like it fell apart spectacularly, and to the point where it made me I suspended my account and left TikTok for 6 months or 4 months or something like that.
Oh,
And didn't I deleted the app, didn't go on. uh
wow.
yeah, it was there was a bunch of fallout that happened. And so yeah, no, I don't do that over there anymore. I'm back on TikTok, but I don't do that over there anymore.
Okay, one more social media platform that I've heard a little bit about, but I really haven't looked into much is Discord.
Yeah, I don't. Discord isn't. I mean, I suppose it's a social media app, but it's really more like an old AOL, like chat
Like a
room.
message board, like a chat board on, yeah, well,
Yeah,
old AOL.
yeah. It's like a chat room is what it is, and you can set up your
Okay.
own. your own, they call it your own server, on Discord, but really it's your own chat room, except that then you can have like sub rooms inside your room. So you have like your
Okay.
Discord server, and then you could have like a channel for, a room for discussing work in progress, or room to discuss marketing or whatever. But when you go in it, it's just text, it's just text and emojis and all that
So you
stuff.
can't do video on there.
You can do video, but it's not like TikTok video,
Mm,
it's like a Zoom call, it's like
okay.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that was my other thought. Well, maybe that would work, but yeah, it's the whole marketing thing is just so overwhelming.
Yeah. Yeah. And the problem is there's just so much vying for people's attention that, you know, any little attention you get is like a miracle that you get that. And um and then there's a huge chasm between someone giving you enough attention to watch a video and then the amount of attention it takes to buy and read a book.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I'm not good at it. I've tried a million different things. But I'm kind of at the point now where I'm just going to write and put them out there and I will talk about them. I'll go on shows like this and talk about them and I'll do my own little things. But I've stopped putting in like a lot of effort into marketing because it's a bottomless well that will take all of your attention and give you very little in return.
Yes.
And so it's just like it's exhausting. And
Yes. Yes.
and, and I write kind of niche like genre, so like trying to find people that want to read it is difficult as well.
Yeah. Yeah. It's frustrating, and it's a lot of you watch other people being super successful. I have a friend that just ordered another 1,000 books to sell in his TikTok shop because he's sold over 1,200 so far. And I am so happy for him. But in the meantime, I'm like, well, why him and why not me? Well, of course, he's out there talking about his book, and I'm not.
Mhm.
But
Yeah,
that's part of it. But it can be frustrating watching other people be successful when whatever you do is just met with crickets.
right. I know. I there are a few authors on TikTok that I watch that I'm like, man, they just like they're so successful. They're selling out. They're getting picked up by Trad Pub, which I don't even want that,
Me
that's
neither.
not
Yeah.
on my goals. Um, but uh but they're just so successful and I think, man, how do they do it? Like how do they are they just more likable? Because ultimately, like that's when you're especially marketing on social media, it's like people have to like you. Like my friend Derek over on TikTok that writes the Dino Riff series, and he's very successful and sells lots of books and gets great reviews. And there was even like talk of a TV show at one point and stuff like that. And like it was, uh, and I just watch his videos and I go, well, I don't understand what he's doing that gets people's attention, but he's charming, like, and he's not abrasive, and
Yeah.
and and I don't know how to do that.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. It's frustrating. What is your dog's name? We got to ask because I see him
Oh,
picking his
yeah,
face
she's
up.
peeking up. This is Phoebe, and
Oh,
she is the most anxiety-riddled dog you have ever seen in your entire life. If you are not actively petting her, not just you can't just even rest your hand on her. Like if you're not actively petting her, she freaks out and like tries to climb into my body.
what kind of dog is she?
She's kind of a mutt, but she's a rat terrier blue heeler mix kind of thing.
Okay. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
she's a mutt.
Aw.
We rescued her from a rescue place and have regretted it ever since.
Oh gosh. Well, tell everybody how to find you, so they can buy your books or listen to the podcast.
Yeah, so I've got a website that's where that I'm trying to get back to keeping up on. But that's gavingale.com, GAVINGAYLE.com. And then there's links to everything on there. And I've got a TikTok. You can find me, author Neil Christiansen, on TikTok. You can find my YouTube channel, which is just Neil Christiansen, I think. And I'm like I said, I'm on Blue Sky and Threads and Instagram and stuff, but I don't really do anything there at all.
Yeah, same here. Yeah,
So
same. Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming on today. And you
absolutely,
got to
thank you
come
for
back
having
and
me.
do one of our writing prompt shows.
Yes, I know. I was supposed to do that, and my life. So I got laid off from my job about 2 months ago, and
Oh, I'm
so
sorry.
I ended up having a job interview that day that
Oh,
didn't pan out, but like
that's
I
okay.
couldn't
That's
like
more
not
important. It's more
couldn't.
important. I'll put in the show notes everything from Neil so you can find his podcast to listen as he goes over each chapter. How many chapters are in the book?
26.
And you've done like six or seven?
Yeah, I've recorded six and I have two more lined up.
Oh, very cool. So if you're interested in reading a chapter, go to his website and we will have it in the show notes. So go down there and check
Yeah.
that out and contact him. And thank you so much for being on today.
Thank you for having me. It was a lot of fun.
Thanks, Neil. I have just now subscribed to his podcast, which I should have done earlier. I realized I hadn't done it. I'm one of those people that I say, I'm going to do this and this and that. And if I don't write it down immediately, I don't do it. But anyway, so I've subscribed and started listening to it. And I already like the book. So it is fun hearing what his guest each week has to say about that particular chapter. And spoiler, the book is really good. So go out and get a copy. And, you can listen to it also, but I recommend reading it yourself. So that's it for this week. We'll have another great show next week. And in the meantime, go read a good book. The Books Cube theme music was written by Laura Lynn Hardy. She performed the vibraphone. Billy Tyke Miller performed percussion. And it was recorded at Mills Kids Recording in Huntsville, Alabama.